Okay, real quickly, we're going to improve on the result class. And what we want to do is be able to pass messages and things into here. So for error, I want to be able to pass in an array of errors. So what I'll just do is I'll just say message for now. And with success, I want to have a message. Okay. So if we open our event and go to create to do, you see we have our result here. What I want to do is just type in test and error so that you can do it with me while we test out what happens. Okay. So I'll just duplicate this line and I'm going to console log message and message, and out of curiosity we'll see what happens. Refresh the page and create and go to our console and it says error. Okay, and if we go back, okay, I see it's just calling both of those. So let's try this. If type of message equals undefined console.log error. Let's see what this warning says. Oh, equals. So I'll refresh, create, and that did not get called because we are passing a string in here. So if there's no string, hopefully that calls. So create, there we go. That says undefined, but that does not look correct. So let's go back to result. I'll say undefined like that. So I'll refresh, create, and undefined. Good. And the reason we did this is so that if they have a undefined item, it'll do something different. So here we can go ahead and copy this for the message as well and get rid of that and that. So what we want to do is probably write this to the DOM. So we'll go to our views, our dashboard, and how about our header? Okay, and I'll scroll down a little ways. And let's try it in the wrapper. We're going to make an alert from the Twitter bootstrap. So I'll say div class equals alert and alert dash, well, they have an error. Okay. That's good. Now the only problem with this is it might appear on the page. So let me refresh. You see how it appears empty? Let's make sure it doesn't do that. In our CSS, we have a style CSS. I'm going to add a class called generic stuff. And I'll say hide will be display none. Okay. And in the header view, I'll just add the class hide. Okay. So if I refresh the page, there it is. And we'll also do an alert for a success. So this will be an alert success. And I'm going to give these IDs so that they're triggered specially. So this will be ID will be error, ID will be success. Okay. Back in our result, we'll say success.html, and we can paste down here and just put in message. And for here, if it's undefined, we'll just have a generic message that says success. Okay. And we'll do the same thing with the error. And this one will say error if there is none. And that one will have a message. Now this could be a JSON encoded thing, and we'll have to see what we do with it from there. So let's first try it. We're also going to need to show it. So error.show. Well, we could just attach. How about dot fade in? Make it a little interesting. Dot fade in. Okay. and refresh, create, error. Cool. Now to pass data into this error, it'll be pretty easy. We just go to our event, and here it was o.error from our last video. And let's see what happens. Create, and according to our response, we have things in an array. So what we need to do is probably loop that, and let's console log it first to see what we have. So I'll say console.log type of message, and then console log message. It should be a JSON object. So I'll refresh, create, and it's an object. Okay. So I'll say if type of message equals object, we're going to loop through it, else okay. Now we're repeating this a whole bunch and it's kind of ridiculous, so I'm just going to call this var dom equals error. So dom.html, dom.html, and we also want to fade in that top one here. There we go. And to loop this, let's try this. For var key in message, console log key, console log message key. Okay, and we'll see what we get. Refresh, create, there we go. And it looks like we only need the message. So there could be more than one error in many instances. I'm going to put these on separate lines, a little easier to read. We want to build up this message, so I'll say var output equals this, then output plus equals message key. And I think we might want to throw a BR or a list item on there. I think I'll just do a list item. So I'll say UL it up here. Then here we'll say list item, end list item. And for our HTML, we're going to output output instead. So that was a little crazy, huh? So let's refresh, create. It says the content field is required. Oops, sorry about that. So if I zoom in here, it looks like I have what I need. And now we have a better creation class. Now for success, we pretty much don't want to have an object to loop through, so we're not going to do that. I will do the same thing here. I'll say var dom equals success, and I'll say dom fade in and dom.html. Now there's one last thing we're going to want to do. Since this is Ajax driven, those messages will never disappear. So let's set a timeout. We'll just do a plain JavaScript timeout of set timeout, and we'll just put in a anonymous function, and we'll say dom.fadeout, and we need to set a time limit. So I'll say after 5 seconds, and these are microseconds or milliseconds. And we'll do the same down here. Okay. Don't forget our little semicolon. So let's refresh that. Create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fade out. Cool. And that makes us ready with our result class.